Alright.
Come on, man.
What it do?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Got another podcast today with the homie from Denver, DNA Picasso.
What it do? What it do?
About to get into a little interview. Let's get it. So, obviously, this is your first time on the channel. I like to kind of get started with one. We're both in Denver, and I know just from previous conversations with you that you came here from, I think, the East Coast, I guess. Can you kind of paint the picture of like how you got started in Denver and kind of what brought you out here and what got you into the hip hop scene out here?
Most def. Well, I was actually born in New York, right? And then me and my twin brother got adopted, and then we moved to California. So I was living in Southern California, and that's where I came from. That's where I was at before I came here. And then I was actually not really into music at all. I mean, I was into music, but I wasn't making music myself. At all. I was more like into sports. I was skateboarding. I was into like writing. And then I would always freestyle with the homies. But that was the extent of that. And then I went to college. I had some homies who were recording, and then I got into it, and then started making my first songs out in college. Fell in love with it.
So was that when you were still in Cali?
Nah, that was in. I actually. So when I came here, I finished out high school in Colorado. And then I got a scholarship to run track in Nebraska. So I went to Nebraska. I was out in Nebraska. There's not shit to do. So I was like, I found music, and I was like addicted to like being in the studio. Just recording.
So that's where I got in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've driven through Kansas. I don't think I've been to Nebraska. That's like hardcore Midwest.
A whole lot of not shit out there. Yeah.
So I guess when you were younger and even like to now, kind of who are you listening to? Who got you inspired? Besides being in the studio when you were in college and kind of getting some experience just being in that environment. Who did you listen to that really kind of sparked that curiosity? Like, oh, I can do this too. I want to do this too. Like, oh, I really fuck with that.
Most def. I mean, when I came from California, I was already into like J-Rock, Don King, all like the jerk music and like all like the like real hype and shit. But like the main artist I was listening to was Lil Wayne. Like Lil Wayne was the reason why I, picked up my pen and started writing. I wanted to like write things that nobody was saying, and like say things that like no one would think of saying,
I think Wayne is still probably the GOAT of that,
Yeah, like unpredictable. Like you don't know what he's gonna say. He can say anything.
Yeah. And also, guys, forgive us if there's a little bit of background noise. We are at the homie Dwayne's Tetra Lounge in downtown Denver. It's like the first legal, legit smoking 420 lounge in the city. So some other people are walking in, but he was kind enough to let us film a podcast here. So forgive us if there's a little bit of background noise. So basically so back to Wayne. So I don't know if you've seen that documentary that recently came out that Machine Gun Kelly put out. It was really kind of interesting. The reason I mentioned it is because on that album that he put out, he has a track with Lil Wayne.
Right.
And he explains kind of Wayne's process of like showing up to the studio like 2-3 hours late, gets him the song, he goes back, listens to it for like, I think it was like 2 or 3 hours, and then goes into the studio and does one take and kills it and then leaves. And just like the story of like hearing him work with Wayne and like how Wayne writes was just like really neat. I think Wayne is like still pretty much like the GOAT of
the GOAT. In my opinion, he's a GOAT lyrically, and I definitely aspire to work with him one day. I followed his career really closely, and I think it was just phenomenal how he's been able to continue to reinvent himself in the game. So that's super dope. But Wayne. And then I really like East Coast music. Like I was really into 50 Cent, bro. Like I was really into 50 and G Unit, and I like their whole movement. Like and how they all have their individual thing going on, but they will come together and like really, really make hits.
Lloyd Banks,
and then when Dre went over and started working with 50, I think it was super dope. Like that East Coast and West Coast bridge, because I was born on the East and I flew and I lived on the West, and so I was like, oh shit, like I can incorporate both of these styles into like what I do. So living in Denver, Denver's a melting pot. There's not really a lot of culture here in terms of like a music scene and a history of rap,
That's what I wanted to talk about too, because
happening in Denver.
Right, like what is kind of that, what's your, I guess, because I know you do a lot of shows in the city. You've got a show at Meow Wolf on October 28th. Yeah. So this podcast will be out before that. So if you guys check this out and want to go to that show or in town, October 28th, DNA at Meow Wolf.
Yeah.
So really, what do you think is going to, like, I guess, happen with the Denver scene? What are your goals for what's happening with Denver hip hop? I know there are, multiple artists kind of starting to get a little bit of stuff going on. And really, what are your thoughts on that?
There's actually a lot of artists with some good momentum. I think a lot of time what kills it though is, one, it's expensive to be an artist, like really expensive. So if you don't have a crazy source of income, like, you know, fueling that career,
right, a side hustle
investor
or
a label or a loan, bank loan, or like essentially what a record label deal is. Anyways, if you don't have like a loan or some sort of capital like behind you, it's really hard to like make things happen. It's hard to record albums. It's hard to, you know, shoot music videos and go buy out venues to do your own shows. It's like really hard to do that. But I feel like really the capital, bro. Like if you figure out how to like tap in with the cities, with the city of Aurora, with the city of Denver, and really like figure out where is the funding for artists and entrepreneurs, you know. And I think a lot of the artists out here are broke, you know, and like everybody wants to like quit their jobs and do this music shit. And like I understand it because, you know, I had phases where I was like, I'm never working a job again. I quit my job and I was living cool off of music, but then it started getting stressful because I had to depend on music to pay a bill. And now I'm stressful. Now I gotta go sell a feature to go pay my rent or something like that. And that shit got goofy like really quick. And but I just feel like I think social equity out here, the gap is crazy. I feel like the poverty gap is crazy, and so I feel like capital, bro. Like money.
So do you think that, you know, someone from outside of the city needs to come in, or do you think that like people within the city can be organized together and figure out like maybe it's people coming together and creating a new venture that gives, you know, a little bucket of artists some support? You know, what do you think I guess the answer besides like obviously it is capital, but like how does that capital reach the artists that need it, you know?
I do feel like it's not just like once you get the capital, where do you put the capital, right? Where do you put that money? What do you
how do you decide what artists get what, or you know, at that point it's basically like starting your own record label and then deciding, you know, who you're going to sign and who's going to get
there's
what.
A lot of local record labels out here. Like I have my own record label, and I have artists on the label, and I have producers and writers and all that on the team. And I'm not against bigger labels either. I just feel like if you're not getting signed right now by a big label, then do it yourself. You know, do the independent thing. So that's what I'm doing right now. But I do think like Atlantic and Columbia and like all these record labels could come out here and find talent. You know, whether they have branches out here, I think that'd be super beneficial to the scene. Even if I don't sign or I don't get signed, I think it'd be dope as hell to be in a city where that's happening.
To have Denver be more of a spot.
Yeah, where people are coming to Denver and being like, damn, because everyone comes to Denver, right? But everyone comes to Denver to like kick back, be low key, avoid paparazzi, smoke weed, go ski, you know, snowboard, you know, do that. And they don't really know what's going on in terms of like popular culture in the city, you know, and like what's really happening. So like I feel like myself and a couple of DJs and a lot of other promoters in the city are like those, you know, like the liaison to like knowing what's going on in the city and stuff like that. So I just feel like we just got to continue to make this music, bro. But I feel like there needs to be real structure here, like labels or independent labels, if they get the funding and figure out how to get, you know, publishing deals and different licensing deals, and like really teach people how to understand the business behind music. I think that's the key.
I agree with that. I think that's like it's something that like, you know, artists like we talked about this a little bit a few weeks ago. Like someone like Russ has kind of perfected that, you know, in terms of gotten that to like, you know, probably the highest, you know, artist level that someone can do that by himself kind of thing.
Right.
And I think that kind of mentality is really useful. But then, like you said, you also do at some point, you know, I don't know the details of his life in particular, but at some point you need somewhere to live. You need some food. Like you said, you need like something to be able to create, but then also live your life.
Yeah, you know? And feel this music thing, and like it's a brand that's attached to it. If you need new clothes for a video, or for a photo shoot, or for a show, or for that, you have to pay for that. How do you pay for that? You know, and so like there's a lot goes into it, bro.
So what are your goals for the rest of this year, and then going into 2023 with your own music, maybe who you want to work with, the shows that you got planned for next year? Obviously, we already talked about the show that's coming up in a few weeks in October, but what are your plans? What are your goals? What do you got going on?
Well, I have the show October 28th, and then I have a Halloween party happening at this new club opening up out here. I can't say anything yet about it, but if you follow me, go tap in with the pages. And
of course, also hit the subscribe button right now if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Follow the big homie on Instagram. I'll put all the info, you know what I mean, little pop-ups in this video right here.
Hell yeah.
Make sure you do all of that. Thank you guys.
Hell yeah. So October 30th, I'm gonna throw a Halloween party as well, but I have a lot of micro shows that I'm producing for other local talent in the city, the R&B community, the rap community, and live instruments and all that. So I have a lot of shows coming up. Like I said, if you follow me, I post all about that kind of stuff. But personally, for my music career, I'm dropping a project October 21st with my artist 47. It's called Until Next Time. and that's dropping. It's got 6 tracks on it. So I'm pushing that. I'm pushing my new single Jing.
I was actually just gonna say, I was just listening to Jing on the way here. That goes pretty hard. I like that.
I appreciate you, bro.
I like that.
I've done a whole bunch of features this year. I think this year I took a break from like focusing too hard on like my own solo project. I just wanted to have fun with it, and I've probably been on over 40, 50 records that come out this year, but I'm featuring on all of them. So like, it's just other people are dropping featuring me.
Right.
So like, I really would like to look at myself as a commodity right now.
And I'm sure that helps with the bag a little bit.
Yeah, it does help with the bag, but it also helps with the reach. You know?
Of course.
And it helps me because there's actual, like half of those artists, I didn't charge at all. Like, you know, the people that I actually genuinely wanted to work with. Not saying the other half I didn't want to work with, but
just a different kind of relationship, different circumstances. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I actually had somebody mad at me because they're like, "You didn't charge this dude, but you charged me," and I'm like, you know.
Don't be mad. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I get to do, you know, what I do with my shit. So.
Really, I guess moving forward, like you said, like, you know, next 2-3 years, like who are the top, you know, 3 artists or 5 artists that, you know, you would absolutely like kill to work with? You know, who's real besides Wayne, obviously. You know, who else is on that list for you?
Lil Wayne would be cool. Definitely in the next 5 years. Like, I definitely want to get the Wayne feat. But honestly, bro, like I like a lot of like upcoming hidden gems. Like, there's a dude out of Canada named Dylan Sinclair. I think Jack James is also in Canada. He might actually be in the UK, either Canada or UK. But these are R&B artists. Like, I really want to connect and work with R&B artists a lot. Like, add my flavor to, you know, what they got going on. But in terms of rappers, bro, like, there's so many in the game. You never know who you're gonna run into. I don't even think other than Wayne, like, I don't really have anybody that I like have to work with, you know. I want people to want to work with me. When that comes, when that happens, you know, I'll work with, you know, those people too. But there's some people I respect in the game right now, and if I run into them and we happen to build a relationship and, you know, we sound good on the track together, let's do it, you know.
And I know we know some of the kind of same people in the Denver scene. I know a friend of mine, Grilla Beats. I know you know Grilla. Yeah. Grilla's been on the podcast, so shout out to the homie Grilla.
Grilla's my dog. Grilla actually got 3 records on this new project with me and 47.
Oh, sick, dude. I can't wait to hear it. Yeah. I don't know if you can, but after this podcast, maybe shoot me a text with a couple tracks. I'd love to listen to it on the way home.
I got you for sure. So yeah, Grilla's super dope. I want to work with a lot of up and coming producers. It's crazy. I'm on the spot right now, so I don't have names, but like, there's definitely people I want to work with in the game, you know. So.
And I know one of the studios that I think we've actually been to together a few years ago was The Lab.
Oh yeah,
that's a popular spot.
I still record there.
Yeah, so shout out to The Lab.
Yeah.
You know, I know that's probably, in my mind, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, probably the biggest, like, or most established, like, real hip hop studio in the city.
There's actually a couple. Like, The Lab is definitely one that came from nothing, bro. Like, the dude over there who owns that, Mac D, like, shout out to him for like really starting from the ground up, and then now he like has 3 different rooms in the lab, and I record with Deuce, but there's a lot of people in there who are dope and do their thing. But outside of the lab, you know, Side 3's always been around. Side 3's been around for a long time. KMG Studios, you know, they define themselves as like a hip hop studio.
Dream Space in Lakewood, they just opened up, so shout out to them.
Yeah, so there's some good studios out here. YGAM, you know, there's a lot of people really doing it out here. So like, that's what I respect, you know.
So besides, like, obviously Denver, we've talked about the hip hop scene and kind of what can, you know, move forward with the hip hop scene. But one of my favorite things about the city that is different from other places that I've lived, like, you know, Baltimore, Philadelphia, is the connection to like other art, you know, like that's one of the reasons I wanted to come do this podcast here. And at the end of this, I'll show you guys a little bit around of what we're looking at, but there's so many cool murals around the city. There's the I guess, love and appreciation for street art in Denver, I think, is so cool and pretty unique. So what's your opinion, I guess, of how that can kind of eventually hopefully morph into that same kind of support, you know, for the hip hop culture and for music, just like the art, the city, you know, in general, and businesses and stuff like that have supported, you know, the mural artists around town.
No, I like that a lot. You know, I feel like that's like a real niche thing. Like, you don't see that in every city.
Right.
I think every city has their pockets of like art, like artistic things, you know, going on. But like the murals out here and the artists and like what's going on. Downtown businesses are letting people paint the whole building,
right? The whole wall,
top to bottom. If you've been to River Bar and Gallery, like they literally inside from head to toe in the whole entire venue, it's all art. It's all, you know, either murals outside, inside, art hanging up on the walls, like art installations being built, and I love that type of shit in Denver. And I feel like figuring out how to like mesh the art community and like the hip hop community would be dope. Like if we were doing hip hop murals of artists that were in the city, like I would like really be into that. And of course, I want to be on a mural, you know, somewhere posted up, you know.
If anybody in Denver wants to let an artist throw them up on the side of a wall, let us know.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to do that. But I think we just got to figure out how to, like, there's a lot of dope communities out here. There's the art community, the dance community, the music community, the producers, you know, the photography and the modeling and the film community, and like figuring out how to, and the fashion community, and figuring out how to like mesh all those things together. I mean, not maybe all at once, but like maybe the fashion and music first, and then we figure out how to get the art in the music, and then we figure out how to actually finally figure out a way to put hip hop and weed hand in hand. I mean, we are in Colorado, you know, I don't understand how we haven't been able to do that yet, but there's dispensaries that are sitting on like crazy amounts of cash.
Yeah.
It could be
supporting,
getting invested, and they could get their shit right back in tax, you know, write-offs. But
well, taxes and dispensaries, that's a whole crazy thing. I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong, and also if anybody in the comments knows, correct me, but I think no cannabis company that operates in the state can actually legally write off the income that they pay their employees. Any normal write-offs and stuff like that a business would normally be able to in any other industry, the cannabis industry can't write off. So the operating costs for all of them are very high. Some of them are.
I thought they could write off things that were about their brand.
I don't know. I mean, maybe we get some clarity, and I'll probably have to do some research.
I would love to learn
this.
that.
Yeah, if someone knows, hit the comments, but after this, I will do some research.
But that type of research and information is how we figure out how to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
You know? So like we definitely need to work on that and like figure out how to access that and like pour the, you know, have the hip hop community, because we all as artists, I buy weed from all types of dispensaries. I put a lot of my income into weed, into the cannabis,
taxes.
the local tax cannabis community. Why can't they give it back?
Right.
You know,
throw a concert. Right.
Any of those things.
Right.
You know?
It'd be real easy, I'm sure, for a few dispensaries to get together, sponsored by, and you know, support a few local artists.
Yeah.
And, you know, throw a summer show or
and
something.
Figure
like
out how
that.
to just keep that money circulating back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know.
So I know you and I are also both interested in real estate. I know we both kind of, you know, more than dabble, you know, kind of do some more serious work in real estate. Totally a little off topic than what we've been talking about so far, but I know it's something that's relevant to both of us and something that interests us, you know, wealth building and just kind of improving the situation that, you know, you probably came from when you were younger. You know, that's kind of my whole goal, as we've talked about, you know, just leveling up and getting better. So what are your thoughts about what's happened this year in Denver? I know, like, you know, at the start of the year, houses were going for like 200,000, 100,000 over asking, no appraisals, all of that. And then since then it's kind of calmed down. What are your thoughts about the market here, investing? What are your personal plans for real estate and kind of what you're doing?
You know,
because I know you got some stuff behind the scenes that, you know, some people that listen to your music might not necessarily realize. And that, you know, it's pretty sick. So
it's really interesting because I'm gonna be straight up, like I literally came from like I fucked up my credit because I knew nothing about credit. I knew nothing about my taxes. I was always doing them all wrong. I would spend money like crazy, didn't know how to save anything, and I was in debt. And I really went from being in debt to like being, I wouldn't say I'm fully financially free right now. I think I'm on my way for damn sure, but there's a lot for me to learn. But I went from being in debt to not being in debt anymore, and you know, figuring out how to make money, save money, you know, put money in other places and shit. So I definitely have real estate goals. I'm not all the way clear on like what I want to do there, so I'm not going to say it on camera. But it's interesting because I used to not be able to get a loan. Now I'm a lender. You know?
Right.
So it's really cool to be able to, not only at first I did this shit to figure out how to educate myself, and then first because I don't want to just do this and just say, oh, I'm doing it and I can help everybody and not know shit.
Right, you want to be an expert.
And I want to be an expert. So I wanted to educate myself and figure out how to apply these things that I'm learning to my own life. And now I'm figuring out all that, but I'm also helping other people get into homes. You know, I got a couple closings, and it's been really dope. And I have a lot of loans in the pipeline right now. A couple about to close this month. So I don't know, super dope. I think the market in Denver is dope too, and I think investing out here is crazy. On my way here, when I was driving, I got off on Brighton Boulevard, and I saw all these new developments, all these apartment buildings getting built, all these like restaurants and all these places, like townhomes getting built. And like I think it's like a booming market. If you have the money, if you have the capital and buying power, definitely invest in the Denver real estate.
So I'm sure you probably noticed this, like because I moved here in 2015, and like coming from the East Coast, you know, Denver's a big city, but it's not New York, it's not Boston, it's not Philly.
But it's a growing city.
It is. So over the last like 5 and 7 years, 8 years since I've lived here, every single year the skyline grows. A new company moves in, a new headquarters is you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, a different major building is set up. Like the skyline just keeps expanding. So I've just found that to be so cool, and I think that real estate's like such a dope thing to transfer, you know, and how you really like build wealth in your own life. And it's just been such a I guess game changer for me.
Super dope. And 99% of millionaires own real estate, 100% of billionaires own real estate. So, you know,
and using all of that, I think, translates into like what you're doing with music, because like you just, you know, you learn certain skills and then you translate those skills into what you're working on, and then like, you know, you're dropping music, you're doing shows, and like eventually it's that consistency where, you know, I can't wait to like see you fucking blow up one day, my dude.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's like that process of just continuing to put out music and just put out content, I think is super key. It's just like learning new skills, getting better, introducing yourself to new environments, new people, you know what I mean? That's just like, that's what it's about.
Because you never know, like now, I'm not gonna say hesitant, but like I didn't go and like go show everybody in my company my music, you know, in my mortgage company.
Yeah.
But over time, they've been hip to things and they've followed me on social media now, and like they see things, and like even then, like they're talking about figuring out ways to help me invest into the music thing. So like you never know, like you go do this other thing, and you might have just found an investor doing that thing,
right?
You know, or you might have just found somebody who wants to support you,
right? Someone else that's passionate about music, but maybe they haven't had entry into that area of life. You know, they didn't know anybody growing up,
like you never know.
Yeah.
So I say like get out there, meet people, shake hands, don't be scared. If you're interested in something, go do it. You know, if you have a passion for something, definitely go follow that thing, because you never know, like for real.
So is there anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap up the podcast, my friend?
Ah, man, not particularly, but I will tell y'all, October 21st, until next time, with me and 47, new EP dropping October 28th. I'm gonna be at Meow Wolf performing live. The rest of the year, we got parties and shit going on. Just follow me, tap in, you know the vibes.
I'm gonna throw all of the info for those local shows coming up over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks in the description, so check that out. And with that, again, hit that subscribe button, much love, and also hit the subscribe, hit the follow button on Spotify. You know, make sure you tune in to all the new music it's been dropping. It's been really sick to watch. So again, much love. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Appreciate you.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.